What's happening, YouTube? In the building on the Lamont Tyson channel. The other fellas, they'll be here in a few minutes. I thought I'd take the time to just go ahead and say what's up to everyone while the fellas are filing in here so that we can get this good discussion going. How are you guys doing tonight? It's always a blessing to have you come and join us as we go through all the events, movies, and TV shows and end our show on some financial knowledge, what's going on in the world today, and we'll cover all those topics. But right now, while we're waiting on the fellas, let's also just take the time to wait for some more people to get in here. Here's Larry. He's popped on up in here. Good brother Larry, what's up?
What's going on, man? How you feeling?
I'm good, man. We're live already, but we haven't really got started. I was just telling everybody it's always a blessing to have them tune in and listen to us, follow your channel. And we're just very thankful that we have a good base that's helping us to grow.
Right. That is, it is important, and I'm glad people show up and watch and listen, and I'm glad we have people that interact back with us, so we're not out here by ourselves.
And I'm really glad we got some super chatters too, man.
Yeah, the super chatters are important, no doubt, because they keep stuff flowing going, because it's YouTube is as great as it is as a platform can be unreliable financially. So when people support, it's a bigger help than they know.
Yeah, and we mean that wholeheartedly, ladies and gentlemen. We really appreciate your support. Let me say what's up to my family, Buzz 703, my folk Mike Willie. We appreciate both of you guys joining us, getting in here. T-Streams will be in a little bit. And to just kind of understand the things we're going to cover today, general pop culture events that we have seen. They've got another suspect in the Ahmaud Arbery shooting. And this was the guy that was filming the camera. Just really, I mean, come on, bro. And he had a whole lot more to do with it than what we seen. We also got to talk about Joe Rogan signing $100 million deal with Spotify over his podcast. And I know you guys are like, why do we care? I'll tell you why on the back end when we get to the financial section, because I got something good for you. Then we've got a movie review that got my man Denzel Washington's son in it and Robert Pattinson. And that one is called The Tenet, done by Christopher Nolan. I think it could be a good one. This could be the thing that gets everybody back into the movie theater in lieu of the Rona. And in X-Men news, ladies and gentlemen, or should I say Marvel Phase 6 news, it done leaked out. It has leaked out that Phase 6, the way they're going to introduce X-Men is going to be with two main villains, and I can't wait to tell you guys about that. Me and Larry love the Marvel section. And in the financial section, I'm just going to go through some stock tips I gave you guys last week that paid off big this week, and a new stock tip on the back end. But before we get into all that, Mike Willie, R. Rosa, Shaquita, we love y'all, and we're going to go ahead and do it. Larry, first story we're going to cover. Well, first of all, I took the politics out before I even forget.
Okay.
Mike Willie.
Big Mike Willie coming through correct.
Mike Willie. Before I even get into this thing, Mike Willie, let me give you this one, brother, because boy, it's just like this with you, Mike Willie.
I represent the rent is too damn high party. Playing the silly game, but it's not going to happen. The rent too damn high movement. The people I'm here to represent can't afford to pay their rent. Listen, someone's stomach, child's stomach just growled. Did you hear it? Rent is too damn high.
The rent is too damn high. And Mike Willie, we appreciate you, man, contributing to that rent, baby. We love you. Stick with us. And I took away the political section because I felt like, and I had a conversation with someone that does YouTube analytics. They said it was taken away from my channel. But at the same time, y'all know how those political debates would get me and Larry fired up. So to replace that firing up, I'm going to do something different to get Larry rolling early. Y'all know how the Breakfast Club has a section that they call Donkey of the Day. Well, we're going to have a section we call dumbass of the day. It's where I'm going to go through my dumbest comments of the week, the dumbest ones, and I'm going to let Larry respond to it. And so before we even jump into this, Larry, this comment is for you. Somebody got, oh man, before we jump into the comment, here we go.
Buzz 703 with it 703, man. I'm loving it.
703 Buzz. Okay, let me give you this one.
So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they raping everybody out here.
And as long as my folk Buzz and Mike Willie ain't hiding their wallets, man, we appreciate it, man. And we appreciate you showing up, showing us some love. But this is for you, Larry. This is to get Larry hyped up. We're going to do a segment. We're going to start each show with the dumbass comment of the week people post about our live stream. So this one, I was just like, Larry knew what I was talking about. Let me show it to you, Larry.
All right.
He says, what does Karl Malone being a Republican have to do with anything? That's just dumb. Even a blind man can see that Democrats are highly connected to pedophilia, politicians, and Hollywood. Remember Epstein Island, the Lolita Express, Ass Bill and Hillary, and Barry Boy is just as creepy and evil. Quit the crap about Republicans. Both parties have rats, but Democrats are the real slave owners. Now, I could literally chop that up literally 10 different ways. But in regards to, before I let you get into it, Larry, let me just clarify what that was in regards to. He obviously knew what that was in regards to because the end of his comment, he's going to say, both parties have rats. I was alluding to, at that era, if you was tied to the Republicans, they was helping your ass get away with murder. Y'all remember Clarence Thomas? Y'all remember the other Supreme Court justice? Y'all remember some of the people in the district courts that was getting away with murder when women had said they was accused of things? That's what I was talking about. If you're in that political power class, you can get away with this stuff, and it tends to lean Republican. Larry knew what I was talking about, but apparently this guy didn't. So, Larry, you get a whole minute to say whatever the hell you want to say in regards to that comment.
I mean, let's just be real. If he's talking about the left versus the right, or Democrats versus Republicans for whatever, pedophilia and all the other crap, I mean,
let us not forget
there is no.
Let us not forget that his damn president went to that island, the one he's trying to blame on Bill Clinton.
I mean, we have a president that has already said that he would that if it wasn't his daughter, he would want to sleep with his own daughter. I mean, the dude is a pervert, and it's crazy. And the idea that somehow that you can compare the horrible wretchedness that Republicans have been caught doing with Democrats. I mean, no, Bill, here's the thing with Bill Clinton. Bill Clinton got caught cheating on his wife with an adult woman. Mm-hmm. With an adult woman. Let's see the last Republican scandals we've had. They've been with children. They've been with other men, or they've been with young boys. Yeah. So it's either been they seem to not like apparently their own wives. They only seem to like any adult females. All they like are either boys that are underage, or young girls, or they like young boys, or they like homosexual men. So, and these are all things that they all want to run around talking about. They don't do, and they want to try and push this off on the Democrats when they know the Democrats aren't doing. The Democrats aren't clean. It's not like they don't have people who cheat. They just cheat with other consenting adults. And so it's sort of ridiculous. And this whole idea of being a slave owner. I mean, if you're a black person and you're a Republican, I mean, don't talk about slave ownership, because basically they've already owned your mind. I mean, that's really what it is. They may not have you in physical bondage, but they have your mind in bondage. I mean, that's just the reality of it. Well, it's just, I mean, it's sad. It's like, I want to go off on this dude, but it's sort of like stupidity. Going off on a mentally handicapped dude. It's like, it's just not fair. The dude is obviously he's not there. He's not all there.
So from now on, I'll get you more challenging ones. How about that? So when you can have your minute, I'll get you something a little bit more challenging. I'm like Buzz. It was stupidity, but this had to be the first one. This had to be the first one of the dumbass comments. It always starts with one, So
yeah, I mean the whole Epstein thing. I mean, realistically, that dude. I mean, he went in there. He went to jail. He wasn't supposed to be by himself ever. He was supposed to have eyes on him 24/7. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, he ends up finding a way to kill himself in an isolation tank that's supposed to be suicide proof. And the guard somehow walked away and stopped watching him. I'm like, come on, seriously. Seriously, the dude was like their highest profile, inmate at the time, and they're not just gonna walk away.
He had dirt on President Trump too.
That was the thing,
right?
That was the thing. Like if he would have released something, if he would have said something about Bill Clinton, it would have been embarrassing. But that's it. The thing is, it would have been embarrassing for Clinton, but Clinton is no longer, he's termed out of being president, so he's not going to ever do that. He's not going to. Hillary has run twice and lost twice. She's not going to run again. So there's no need for any of that stuff. They're already damn near billionaires, so they don't need to worry about money. I mean,
the only reason that man died was because it was going to hurt he was going to hurt people that are in office now.
Right. He was going to hurt Trump and his cronies. That was it. Otherwise, there was no other reason for this man to die. I mean, that's basically what it is. Yeah. And what they really should have done if they were worried about him is they should have just protected him, but they didn't because they were done with him. He was used up apparently. They probably have the Trump and his Republican pedophiles for both boys and girls probably have a new purveyor of children and going to someplace different. So they didn't need Epstein anymore. Which is the reason why Epstein probably got in trouble, because they were like, look, dude, your place is old. It's not fun anymore. We need some new blood. And now probably because Trump is dealing with all the Russians, he's probably got all these young, all these young white blonde chicks from Russia that are 13 and 12 and 14 and whatever else, that they're probably flying in and hiding them out at the Russian compound in Maryland where the US government can't access. So, I mean, let's just be real. These people are pedophiles. They have been. They try and spread it and put it on the Democrats, but the Democrats aren't. Like, they tried to say there was some pedophile ring going on in the back of some pizza joint, which was complete and utter BS. But the reality of it is the Republicans have been caught with children. They had the whole Page scandal, if you don't remember, with those dudes up there, messing with those boys that run up in the Senate. And you've had what's his name getting caught soliciting sex in an airport bathroom. You had all those Republicans, all those evangelical right-wing dudes up there having gay sex scandals with their parishioners, and
you had Roy Moore.
Roy Moore with all his pedophilia for decades. It just goes on and on and on and on. So
table it right there. Let's jump on into it. First, this one's probably going to get your buttons pushed too. First story we're doing today is they got the guy that was filming Ahmaud Arbery. Let's take a look.
There's breaking news we're following right now. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation has made another arrest in the case of Ahmaud Arbery, a young African-American man who was shot and killed while on a jog earlier this year. The fatal shooting was captured on camera and has generated outrage across the country. CNN's Martin Savage is joining us right now. Martin, what are you learning?
Well, it was that video that changed the whole trajectory of this investigation. As you'll remember, for 2 months, the case was stagnant, and then that shocking video was released. It was William Roddy Bryan, the man who took that video, and he's the man who's now been taken into custody today, exactly 2 weeks from the time that you had Gregory and Travis McMichael that were taken into arrest. Now, the GBI is announcing that Bryan has been taken into custody. He is charged with felony murder. That is the same charge that Travis and Gregory received, but also he's been charged with criminal attempt to commit false imprisonment. There had been a lot of consternation by many here who believed that Bryan, in addition to taking that video, had also apparently participated in trying to detain Arbery on that terrible day. And now authorities have moved on that. His attorney has always maintained that no, Arbery was just a bystander who happened to be a witness and captured it on his phone. And as we all know, it was that video that changed everything in this case, Wolf. But now he is in custody and in the same jail as the McMichaels. Wolf?
Yeah, you know, we're just getting a statement in, Martin, from the attorneys for the mother and father of Ahmaud Arbery. And let me read it to our viewers. The family of Ahmaud Arbery was relieved to learn that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has today taken William Roddy Bryan into custody. We called, here it goes, we called for his arrest from the very beginning of this process. His involvement in the murder of Mr. Arbery was obvious to us and to many around the country. And after their thorough investigation, it was clear the GBI as well. The family of Mr. Arbery is thankful for the diligence of the GBI and the way in which they tirelessly pursued the evidence in this case. We want anyone who participated in the murder of Mr. Arbery to be held accountable.
Well, there you have it. And he has been charged with 2 counts. One of them, I think, was manslaughter, something to that effect, and something that was lower. Larry, do you feel like we're on the way to justice for Ahmaud Arbery? My fear is that out of all these 3 characters involved, and you know this goes up the chain too, because there's no way this thing should have been kicked down the road that long. I want them all to get a little scorched. But you know, it seems like they might be setting this up so that someone can take a small fall while the other ones fry like bacon. What do you think?
I mean, I would not be surprised if the dude that filmed it, since he wasn't the shooter and he wasn't in the vehicle with the shooters, I wouldn't be surprised if they tried to say, hey, let's get him to flip and testify against the other 2 guys so we can get them. And then
I would agree with you on that, but they've already got him on a signed affidavit saying that the only reason he turned that video in was because he thought it was going to be able to help his 2 friends that shot and killed Arbery.
Right. So they got him dead to rights. So I mean, the way they can get him is that if they can flip him and say, look, here's the thing, you testify, you change your story, you testify and say what the truth is, or you go down. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know. And I'll be perfectly honest with you. I don't have any faith in our justice system when it comes to this anymore. You're a black man who's been murdered by white men, especially down south and in Florida, which is as racist of a state as you can probably get next to Mississippi. I mean, I have zero faith, or Georgia, whatever it was. I have zero faith in our judicial system. I think that they're making a show of it right now because it's been very public, and politicians don't want their name dragged through the mud saying that they haven't done anything. They don't want there to be big protests. There was already people out there that marched out to this dude's house. They don't want that dude's house firebombed. I'm sure they don't want their state capitol up there with people protesting. And so I think basically what they're going to do, they're going to run through the motions of a trial. They're going to do like they always do. They're going to convict him. People are going to jump up and down and say, "Oh, we've gotten justice." They're not going to convict him of first-degree murder, which is what they should get. They're going to give him something like, they're going to give him something like second-degree manslaughter or something, give him like 6 to 8 years, and then they're going to appeal. And then they're going to say, oh, well, so-and-so was a former police officer and his son lives with them or whatever. They have deep ties to the community. There's no risk of them fleeing, so they're going to release them on house arrest. And then they're going to win on appeal, and it's going to be a quiet thing because no one's going to be watching. And they're going to be, they may spend no time in jail. They may spend a month in jail or something while they're, through this process. But they're going to get off because that's the way our judicial system works. So no, I don't have any faith in our system. I would be surprised and elated if they actually got convicted and the conviction was upheld and they actually did real time. But I think what's going to happen again is that they'll get convicted, they'll appeal it, they'll win on appeal, and while they're appealing, they'll probably be out on bail. They may even not even make them put up bail. They may just say, "Oh, well, we'll let you go on your own recognizance. We know where to find you." And then they'll win their appeal and they'll be free and back about their lives.
My fear is of similar substance, but for me, at some point in time, you have got to make an example out of someone that keeps doing this BS. And if you don't want to see more civil unrest, you have got to make an example out of these bums. And one thing that I heard someone talking about was how African Americans always do these peaceful marches. And it seems like we're slow to burn. Yeah, we're slow to burn to get to justice. But we just seen in Michigan, them people marching in the Capitol with 5,900 guns looking like Rambo. And if he had a son, they spit him out with a gun. And, you see people in certain states bending to that wheel. I give that chick credit in Michigan. She ain't been to the wheel. Matter of fact, she was like, okay, I'm going to shut this down. And we need this justice system to show these folks we're not playing with y'all. We are not playing. Leave these people alone. If you got some predilection, then go swim in the ocean. Maybe go chase a black great white shark or something. I don't know. But leave these people alone. Let them live their lives. They're not bothering you. You don't bother them. You are not vigilante justice. And this time, it looks like, I'm hoping, it looks like we're going down that road of real deal justice. But folks, me and Larry are going to keep an eye on this story. We ain't going to let this one get buried in the news. We're going to let you know what's happening. So
I like I said, I don't think that, I mean, it depends on what you say real deal justice. Because I believe that because of all the attention that's on this case, and I believe because of the video evidence and the way things have turned out, I truly believe they're going to get convicted. I just don't believe that conviction is going to stand. I think they're going to appeal and they're going to win on appeal. They're going to try and say that they received an unfair trial because of all the media attention, that there have been these break-ins, and they thought they were part of some neighborhood watch program, and they thought this was the guy, and then look, there's evidence showing this guy had actually gone into this house, and so we had more reason to believe this, and yada yada yada. I think that even if they're convicted, I think they're gonna win on appeal. After all the media hype is down, after everything's quiet, and the good old boy network can then go into effect without all the issues, that's when it's going to happen.
Yeah. So, folks, we will keep abreast of this because we are hoping for justice. We're watching for justice, and justice is what we need to have, or else we're going to keep running our mouths about it. And so now, Larry, let's talk about something Let's talk about something that could be in part of inspiration. Some people might be like, they don't care. Let's talk about this guy right here. Joe Rogan strikes an exclusive multi-year deal with Spotify worth $100 million. This man walked away with a bunch of bags. And he does a podcast that's the number 2 or 3 most popular podcast, not just here, but in the world. And so now what they're going to do with his podcast is he streams his podcast and he records it. So they're going to have it on a video platform, and they're going to be doing it on their sound platform. Larry, tell me why the average person should even be concerned about this news.
I mean, I think this is fantastic as far as podcasters are concerned. I mean, you're talking about people who have been putting in real work for a long time now, really starting to see huge gains from their labor. And excuse me.
And while Larry is coughing, may I remind you, be sure to download the Life Gains podcast. I put these live streams right on up there. A podcaster like me I don't need 100 million. Sign me for 1 million. That's all we need.
There you go.
Me and Larry, all we need is 1 million. Sign us for 1 million. Download the podcast, listen to it, share it with friends, follow us on YouTube. But go ahead, Larry.
Right. I think one thing that's really important about this is that especially with the video platform, I think that's going to be really important, is that Spotify is talking about they have created a place, if you want to call it a safe place, for people who are podcasters, and it looks like with video creators that can put out their work without all of the restrictions, without all of the the limitations that you normally run into with YouTube. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say that you are a content producer that has a lot of profanity in your content, which Joe Rogan does at times. You're not going to run into those issues with YouTube where they say we're not going to monetize your stuff or whatever. If let's say that you are an adult filmmaker and you want to make videos about the behind the scenes, or you want to talk about the work that you do on YouTube, you are very limited about what you can do, what you can put out there and actually make money, and what you can show. Spotify is talking about removing those restrictions. I think about people like me who I want to make videos. People ask me to make videos about side loading apps and what are the best websites to stream stuff. Well, if there's no restrictions, I can make whatever video I want and put it out there. You know?
Me too. Me too.
You
me
know?
too.
I mean, I can put out all kinds of stuff. I get so many people asking me all the time, how do I do this? How do I do that? And I say, sorry, I don't talk about that stuff anymore. You know?
Now, and I've told Larry this too before, but I get people asking me to do their IPTVs and those services, and I always tell them, if you want me to do that for you, I'm gonna have to do it on the podcast. And I've had some that have taken it, because literally all you're doing with the podcast, sitting in front of your TV and listening to me go through the steps. I've said as good as I can. We lost Larry due to his battery, but give him time, he'll be back. And when he talks about how YouTube demonetizes so much content, YouTube demonetized the Karl Malone video I did the other day. We didn't use lace-filled profanity throughout that video. We just had a dialogue in that video about our feelings toward Karl Malone getting someone who was 13 years old pregnant when he was 20, and what we felt like there was a double standard with the Me Too. But even regardless of that double standard, you still have to protect yourself, regardless of what the reality is. YouTube said, nope, we're not going to monetize that. And so with Joe Rogan signing such a big deal, this could be the event that might can open it up for other podcasters like myself who are trying to grow and get another stream of revenue coming in. But furthermore, for those of you that are going to stick around for the money section, you know I got a gem for you dealing with Spotify. Because when this Joe Rogan news came out, that stock said, pew, and I've got all the action for you. Larry, you remember where you was at?
I don't remember where I was at, man. I don't know but something's going on with my camera lately where I leave it plugged in and it's not charging up right. So I don't know.
Well, I think I held it down for you on Joe Rogan and what the podcast could mean for an industry of people trying to grow up in it. And the thing that you missed that I told them about is, if you stick to the money section, I've got a financial tip dealing with Spotify that happened when they signed Joe Rogan.
Right. So yes, back to where I was with that. I just think that it's very important that, I think that them removing the restrictions and allowing people to have the freedom to talk about the things they want to talk about right now, YouTube used to be that way. YouTube used to be very open and free. And because they have become so big, and because they have wanted to move more towards the family-friendly, sort of content, because that is what advertisers view as sort of safe, then they start pushing back on certain types of content and say, no, you can't talk about this. No, you can't show that. And if now you have an alternative place where you can go as a YouTuber and you can show all of that, now you're talking about people where they can go and really express their creative, their creative side, or just show whatever it is they want to show, and still have a way of making a living. So I think and a lot of people, I don't know how many of you out there have paid attention to what goes on with YouTubers besides just watching their videos, but YouTubers out there have been clamoring for years now about an alternative place for us to post our content besides YouTube, because YouTube is it really has become a monopoly and they control everything. And And so much stuff that people want to do, they can't do because if they do it, either they will get demonetized or they will lose their channel altogether. And the last thing you want to do is, after you've spent 5 or 6 or 7 years building a channel up and you have 3 or 4 or 500,000 or 1 million subscribers, the last thing you want to do is have YouTube step in one day and just pull the plug on you and you lose your channel. Or maybe you're making, $100,000 or $200,000 a year because you have 500,000 subscribers, and all of a sudden YouTube just hits that button, blink, and says you're demonetized because they didn't like something you posted. You're not willing to take that risk. So most people put out really vanilla content. And so now if you have a place that you can go elsewhere, at least then you can just say, you can basically split your channel into two. You can put all the vanilla stuff on YouTube and just say, hey, if you're interested in the more, the more risque or the grittier stuff or the more detailed stuff, if you're doing tech or something, go check me out on Spotify. And then you can go over there and check it out, and you'll have the freedom to post what you want to post,
Larry, this situation is like when you go to the strip club and the stripper would be like, you giving her $10, but you want her to do everything. Poke your butt out, push your breast up, bend over, do a backflip, all that for $10. Sometimes as Black YouTubers, it feels like that's what we go through because y'all do not like vanilla nothing. Y'all don't like vanilla shakes. Y'all don't like vanilla wafers. Y'all don't like vanilla in your pudding pie. Y'all do not like vanilla. And
you want it raw and uncut.
And unfiltered. That's what you want, but YouTube takes away from that. Like I was explaining to them when you blanked out for a minute, they demonetized the video we did about Karl Malone. In that video, we didn't use profanity. We didn't do nothing over the top. We talked about our thoughts on him with a 13-year-old and our thoughts on Me Too and the double standard, and they demonetized.
Yeah.
That's
unfortunate. And that's just unfortunate. But see, the thing is that, like, for instance, like you said, if you're giving the strip club analogy, if you go to a strip club, you can see all the basic stripper stuff. You can see the girls on stage dancing, shaking it. You might see him give a few lap dances here and there. But if you want the real uncut, you go to the boom boom room, And Spotify, in some respects, is sort of setting themselves up as the boom boom room. This is where you can go and get more. Like, you don't have to go to the boom boom room and do something untoward. You can go there just because you want to have a more personal experience one-on-one. But if you want more you want it more uncut, unfiltered, you go to the boom boom room.
Exactly. Yep.
So I mean, that's just the way it is. And I would love for there to be a place where I can speak freely without having to worry about restrictions. If I want to curse, or I want to speak about some subject matter that really upsets me, that I know YouTube is going to demonetize my video over, or even if they don't demonetize it, they may deprioritize it so that it doesn't really get views, or it doesn't get the same advertising dollars. And the other problem with YouTube is, not to go stop my rant here. The other problem is with YouTube is that once your videos at a certain point get to where they say, okay, this person does this type of content, or this person has had so many videos that have, curse words, or it has adult subject matter, or it has, other content that may be viewed as non-family friendly or non-advertiser friendly, really. What happens is they start to lower your CPM, which is then they start lowering your advertising rate. So, for instance, they might say to somebody, you're going to get $1 for every, 10 clicks or something. And instead, now your advertisers are going to be like, they're going to give you 10 cents for every 10 clicks. So it starts to drop how much you are worth to YouTube, and the less amount you are worth, the more YouTube deprioritizes you, so they don't really push your videos up the algorithm more. So the more you're worth to them, the higher they push you up the algorithm, the more you're going to get in the recommended video section, the more views you're going to get. And so it pays. It literally pays on YouTube to be vanilla. It really does. And so to have a place where you don't have those restrictions is welcome. I mean, I welcome it. I can't express that enough how much I welcome it, because I would love to put out content that I can't put out right now.
Yeah, and I've kicked the tires around with Larry about what would it take for us to try to create our own platform. It would take a whole lot more money than what a brother is worth. And then you're going to have to sign up with someone who can help facilitate getting this thing around for everyone to be able to get it. Hold on, we got a T-Stream site. What's up, T?
What's happening, man?
There we go.
You came in at the right time. We getting ready to review the Tenet trailer part 2. Christopher Nolan, Isaiah Washington, Robert Pattinson. But before we do that, we got to shout out my man Avery Adams' brother.
Avery
you make
Adams.
us feel special. And let's see which one we're going to give him. T-Streams hates this one, so I'm going to give him this one.
It's my team. It's my quarterback.
T-Streams hate that one, so I got to show it to him every time. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, DJ, for everyone that hadn't seen it, let us see that Tenet 2 trailer. I've heard it looks good.
All I have for you is a word. Tenet. It'll open the right doors, some of the wrong ones too. Use it carefully.
To do what I do, I need some idea of the threat we face.
As I understand it, we're trying to prevent World War III.
I'm not saying Armageddon here.
No. Something worse.
I gather you have an interest in a certain Russian national.
Why just bring me in?
You really want to know? He can communicate with the future.
Time travel.
No. Inversion.
Aim it and pull the trigger. You're not shooting the bullet, you're catching it.
Whoa. Well, I've seen too much.
Well, we'll try and keep up.
Your duty transcends national interests. This is about survival.
Seems bold.
Bold, I'm fine with. I thought you were going to say nuts.
This is where our worlds collide.
How would you like to die?
Old.
You chose the wrong profession.
Well, happened here.
Hasn't happened yet.
There are people in the future who need us. Who need Tenet.
We need to save them here and now.
This reversing the flow of time. Doesn't us being here now mean it never happened? You want to crash a plane?
But not from the air. No one's so dramatic.
Well, how big a plane?
That part is a little dramatic.
Well, sign me up for day one as long as Rona is over. As long as Rona is over.
So we have Batman up in there.
You got Robert Pattinson, Mr. Washington. You got the guy that played the butler in the last Batman, who is an outstanding actor, done by Christopher Nolan. I liked his version of Superman. Day one for me, if it wasn't for Rona, that looks great.
Yeah, it looked like that might be pretty dope.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead, T-Streams.
Go ahead.
No, I said that looked like it's going to be like that's going to be pretty dope. When is that slated to release?
It's supposed to come out around September.
Okay,
so a lot of people are thinking that this could be the thing that could get folks back into the movie theater.
Yeah.
The concept of inversion time has been done before, but not to this degree.
Yeah,
not to this degree. This looks like the movie that deserves what they have put into it. I'm man, shoot, boy.
You can mark that on my calendar too, man. So hopefully everything is in the clear, man. I was just talking about that today, being able to, man, I can't wait till we can, where it's not only when we can go, but when we're actually comfortable going. And after a few shows then came out and there's no weird outbreaks or, you know, folks don't walk out itching, you know, whatever the case may be. So, man, I'll be glad when the movies open back up. But that looked pretty dope.
Yep. So on you, Larry.
Won't be me. Won't be
what?
Me.
You didn't like that?
No, I did like it. I did like it, but I'm not going to the movies anytime this year. Just flat out. I'm just letting you know, because the way that I'm looking at this right now is that we're in you know, heading into June here in a couple of days, and there's gonna be another big spike coming up.
It's gonna happen.
They said the same thing that happens with all these pandemics. The people think that the curve is flattening out. People go back about their lives, and then a couple months later, boom, it's even worse than it was before. And that September, that's right around when flu season starts. So you're gonna have all these people up there getting sick. Not doing it. Won't be me. I'll wait.
I'm not going
if it comes out on demand. I'll watch it there.
Yeah, I'm not going if it's still Rona. But well, let's forget that.
I'm not
Do
going
you just
way
want to see it? Do you want to see the movie?
I'll probably see it. You know, it looks good. It looks fun. It looks good because, you know, I'm not saying anything about Christopher Nolan. I like his stuff, but it seems very much like that whole sort of mind-bending, time-altering thing. It seems very much like what he had thought of with Inception.
Yeah,
and I don't want to call it a rehash, but it feels like it doesn't feel super original. It feels
that's what I said. I said it's been done before, but I've never liked. I didn't even like Inception all that hot. I would
want. Some people say it's their favorite movie. I think it was a fine movie, but it's not like it was. It's not even my top 10 or top 20. It's not even in my top 50 list.
Me neither. I wasn't feeling it. That it was okay.
So maybe this is his attempt to get it right, because it's actually a cool concept if it's done right.
Oh yeah, for my folk Buzz, they said they're pushing it back to September 17th, 2020.
Okay.
Yeah, they should just go ahead and put that out on. They should just put that on streaming right now.
Man,
I'll
Larry,
tell you what they really need to do is they need to come out with a more secure way of streaming stuff, so that people can, so they can actually stream stuff without having to worry about getting it bootlegged, you know. But they really need to come out, and they also need to come out with a way that encourages people to want to pay for the streams, so that they can make the money. I feel like parents often will pay for stuff for their kids and whatever else, so that you can make $100 million off of an animated film. I find like a lot of people that the older generation, or people that are not older generation, but people that are in their 20s, whatever, oftentimes they'll find alternative means to stream stuff if they don't have it. But I think like what AMC did and what Regal has, where they have their program, or even like what MoviePass had, where you can watch a certain amount of movies every month or every week. They should just do something like that with, with DVD stream or VOD. You know, just have it so that you can pay for a subscription and you can watch 2 or 3 movies a week, and that's that. You pay, I think I pay $20 a month. You know,
Larry, when I first brought that up on this show with UNT Stream, you told me you said, Lamont, suck it, forget it. It's never gonna happen. That's what you told me.
I don't think it will happen.
That's what you told, because I said with what's going on right now, this could be something that can show movie theaters what the hell do we need to be in the theaters for? If people are going to spend $19.99 for this, what makes you think they won't do it even when Rona is over with? And you looked at me and you said, Lamont, you my boy, but you're being very reckless right now. You're being very stupid. I think you even called me a bad name too, and I let it go.
Oh no, man! I don't think I ever did that.
I let the shit go like Mr. T driving the 18 van. I let it go. I let it go. I let it go. I let it go. But now you're sitting here telling me you're calling for that.
I think no. I mean, I've said before. I think that the theaters ought to have a subscription-based thing for VOD at home, because I think that the way it is now, and if I said something different, it may have been because I was feeling different before, because things had, we were in a different place in the world. But I truly think that if the theater companies, not necessarily the theaters themselves, but if the theater companies are going to survive, they're going to have to find a new business model. And one of those new business models may be that, like how AMC has their A-list and Regal has their whatever they call their program, they need to have something where you can have an at-home VOD streaming program, where a platform where you can pay like $20 a month or something and watch like up to 2 or 3 movies a week, And then you can see some of the latest stuff that comes out. Because I mean, I'm not going the way it is right now. Even if they open these theaters back up, there's going to be some people that go back. But here's the problem: once people start to go back to the theaters and they start to go back to wherever, and then all of a sudden there's another major peak. There's all these spikes that happen, and they have to shut everything down again. Our economy is going to freaking collapse, because people are going to be like, oh, fuck this. I'm never going outside again. They're going to be like, they told us it was safe, and now our ICUs are filled back up again, and my brother or cousin or uncle or gardener, whoever just died, I'm not going back out again.
Yeah.
My bad,
Can I say
man.
something? I got my hand
Go
up.
ahead.
Can I say something? Even though that might happen, if Donald Trump is still in office, and I'm not going political, you're still going to have these people that in the midst of folks getting sick and dying, they're still going to be out there saying, let us free. Let my people go. You're still going to have it. Yeah. That I was getting ready to ask T Streams, do you feel like if a movie theater was to come up with a way where you could, have something to go to the theater, but you could also have the app and the movie at home too, do you think that business model can be done, T Streams?
I think it can. And oddly enough, man, just if we sit tight just for a little bit longer, we'll see some of these companies start rolling stuff out like that. Mm-hmm. I can almost guarantee you that they're exploring those options right now, because these folks they take in licks. We losing out on something, but these guys this is a multi-billion-dollar industry we're talking about. They taking some major losses right now, and on a whim, pushing stuff back, debating on not whether to do it on stream, gambling this and gambling there, reducing the size, can't film, and all this other kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. So you best believe that the top execs of these studios and stuff like that, especially when you have places like Universal and stuff like that, these big places that have large catalogs of movies, you can almost rest assured that they're probably thinking of a way to subsidize that, so that they can actually have something specifically for themselves. Now, maybe some of the smaller companies that you really rarely hear about until you see their logo pop up on the screen, that may be something a little bit different. But some of these big boys, man, I like feel it in my gut that they got developers on it. They got teams working on something, so that if this or should this happen again, which pandemics and stuff like that is not foreign to our country and to our environment, they will be prepared to be able to sustain when people are doing nothing but staying at home watching TV and movies anyway. They're they fell short this time, but the next time they're gonna be able to capitalize fully off of it. So I think it's already in the works, but everybody just sort of under lock and key because they're trying to figure out what's really going to happen with the progression of the illnesses that's going on, and how it's going to ultimately affect the industry. So we sit tight just a little bit. You might just see it. It's just a matter of who's going to be first with it. Outside of Disney, they already got it. So
right, yeah, Disney's doing it already. I think Disney has just said, you know what, we recognize that this is going to be the new reality moving forward, and you know, I think they realize that even if they open the theaters up with their current social distancing rules in place, there's not enough seats in those theaters to make the money they need to make. Nope. I mean, if you're talking about having if you have a 100-seat theater and they can only open at 1/4 capacity, that's only 25 people per showing. It's just, you know,
and that ain't enough to pay for that high dollar ass popcorn and soda and drinks they be charging you now. I'd be like, man, why about to make me say a bad word? Why is a large Pepsi in the movie theater $10? That's for 2 liters, man. And bro,
you better take it home and half of it 9.5 later,
bro. And what happens when you have, so let's say you have an AMC near your house, right?
Yeah.
It has 10 theaters. And let's say I know that some of them have different size theaters. Let's just say each of those theaters out of those 10 have 100 seats. So that's 1,000 seats. Mm-hmm. And now you can only have, and I mean, this is assuming, because we know most of these movies don't really they're not filled up anyways, except for like the biggest movies on opening weekend. But let's just say out of those 1,000 seats, you only have a capacity of 250 anyways, because you only get a quarter of the, they're saying they're going to open up with quarter capacity. So, maybe it's easier to sell out some of those theaters, but you're only getting 250 out of your 1,000. And then let's just say somebody walks in there that's sick, doesn't know it, or they're asymptomatic. They ended up breathing on one of your employees, and your employee gets sick. And your employees have talked to everybody else, and now all these other employees that were there, now you basically have to shut down your theater because they're like, we contact traced it. Everybody in here has been exposed. We have to shut the theater down because we don't have enough employees to run the joint. So now what? I mean, it's it doesn't make any sense in some respects. I mean, to try and run your business model on, in today's current climate with that old business model, it's just not going to work.
So what I'm trying to figure out is, because y'all know I can write a business plan in less than a week for just about every business. How much would the marketplace tolerate if you had some kind of unlimited service? Let's say you do a service where you can go see a movie once a week, and then you can see 3 movies at home each month. How much would you think the American people would tolerate for that? $50, $60, $45? It can't be less than 25. So what would the American
people, a month or a week?
A month. In a month.
Yeah, so if you're looking at maybe subscription based,
right.
You can't really go too much against the grain. The one leverage that you would have is is major motion films. So they'll, you can probably hit a little bit more than $20. But I think for the average person that goes to the movie, they're going to look at it like this. The person that's going to the movies, they're going to spend, if they're not going by themselves, or even if you go by yourself, you're going to be out of your ticket and your refreshments and stuff easily $25, $35. Okay.
Yeah.
If you're going with families and stuff like that, then it tends to be a little bit more. And so they may say, well, the average family may go out, check a movie once or twice a month, at least once for those average movie watching families. So $40, $50, I think they can probably get away with it if they if they set it up right where, you know, you could watch a film once it's released and then go back and check it out on, you know, on demand as well, what, you know, on the app or something like that. If you dress it up pretty nicely and they're dropping content, you know, if they're only dropping one movie, you know, if they're only dropping one movie a month, it won't work. But if you're you're dropping content, I think people would probably be comfortable with probably paying $40 or $50. If you start going a little bit more than that, they'll, you know,
you're pricing yourself out.
Yeah, you'll be you pushing it real close.
Right.
Doing that. I mean, I think if I had it, I would, you know, I wouldn't mind. I think I could comfortably let loose $50 a month without, you know, without it agitating me. Then it'd be my luck. You pay a couple months and don't even watch it.
Larry, what do you think the marketplace would tolerate for some service that'll let you watch something at home, but also give you, you know, a visit a week to the movie theater and, you know, maybe 2 or 3 movies at the home?
I think the most they can probably do is $25. I think that's the most that they can do.
That's the most.
I think that's the most that people will tolerate, because when you look at the subscription services they've had in the past for people that have gone to the movies, like when they had Movie Pass, when that first came out, it was $50 a month. And Movie Pass was not at all popular. It was there. People knew about it. And some people that were hardcore moviegoers paid the $50, but for the most part, it was not a successful, you know, business at that time. And when they got some venture capitalists that came in, the first thing they said is your subscription service is too much. You need to lower the price. And when they did, I think they lowered it too much. They lowered it all the way down to $10. And when they did, it just exploded in popularity. And I think
I remember movie theaters couldn't even keep up.
Right. And I think that was too low. But I think when you looked at some of the other theater companies like AMC and Regal, and I forgot the other big one, whatever the other one, I can't remember the name of it. I think it was United Artists, maybe.
Okay.
But they came out with their own subscription-based services after Movie Pass went down, and they were all at like $20, $25 a month. And that seems to be that sweet spot where they are able to get people in to pay the subscription and still make money off of it without hurting their business. And I think that if they keep it around $25, then you'll find that a lot of people are probably just not even going to go to the movies. They're just going to be like, why would I go to the movie? Unless they just wanted to go for the actual experience of being in the movie. But a lot of people would be like, I'd rather sit at home and watch it, where I can hit pause if I have to go to the bathroom, or if my spouse or my son or daughter or somebody else is up there yapping and won't stop talking through the whole thing, you can just hit pause or rewind it so that you can go back. You know, I think we're looking at probably $25. And to be honest with you, when I look at theaters like AMC and Regal and all of them, I know they make most of their money off of their concessions. But if they create a business model where they can get a lot of people to buy into their subscription, they can start closing theaters. They can start closing a lot of them and get rid of a lot of their overhead and build up that subscription model and get rid of their overhead. They don't have to pay employees. They don't have to worry about buying popcorn or making it or anything else. They don't have to worry about all the rental fees for all those theaters, you know, for the leases on all that crap. They can let all that stuff go. Not all of it. They may have to keep some of it so they can actually still present to the studios that we are actually a theater company, and you still need to give us our maintain some sort of whatever with their licensing agreements. But in large part, they can get rid of a lot of their overhead. And
I think people would pay somewhere. I think people would pay max 50, but I don't think that model would work at 25. I don't know how you make it work. You're talking about having people. I don't know how many movies you let them see at home throughout the month. You know, it can't be one. It's got to at least be 2 at the very least. Then you're still giving them the privilege to go to the movie theater weekly. So you got 4 events. You can go to the movie theater 4 times a month, and then whatever new release, whatever you want to see comes out twice a month. I think people would pay $40 for that.
Yeah.
They just take the visit out of the theater, to the theater away, the once a week theater visit. Just take that away and just make it at home only. Then, I mean,
and let's say they did legitimately do that. If they take the theater out, I don't see them lowering the price anymore.
They're gonna have to look what happened with Netflix. Netflix did that when they first came out. Netflix used to be their DVD only service, and then they went DVD and streaming. And they started off where, okay, if you have the DVD service, you can actually add this streaming service on for an additional amount. And then there was a lot of people that are like, I don't want the DVDs, and they were like, well, that's what we have, so that's it. And a lot of people were like, we'll just find our stuff elsewhere. And then eventually they were like, okay, we're gonna drop the combo thing and just offer the two services separately. And once they did, then all of a sudden you saw this huge explosion in their subscription base, because there was a lot of people that just wanted the streaming service only. And if you start talking about $50 a month for a service, think about that. You can get Hulu, ESPN Plus, and Disney Plus in one package for $14.99. Then you pay another $10 or something like that, and you get Netflix. So now you're at $25 a month for those two of the major services. And then you can pick up probably 2 or 3 other ones like Showtime or HBO or Redbox or something else. You can pick up another couple of services to fill out that $50. You probably could have anywhere between 4 to 5 different services for your $50. And if you have to start telling people you get this one service over here that, yeah, we'll give you some new stuff, but you get one service for $50, or you get 5 services that's going to have probably, out of all those 5 services, probably 1 million different pieces of content you can watch. People are going to be like, oh, I'm going to take my $50 and go over this way. They it's too much. I think it's going to have to be 25.
They might, but the thing is, you won't be able to see the new releases. But like my man Virgo Smith is saying, he feels like the movies are weak, and I tend to agree that throughout a calendar year, and T-Strings, you let me know what you think. In the last 5 years, each calendar year, I feel like we might have gotten released 4 like good movies. Do y'all think it's been more than that in each year in the last 4 or 5 years?
Well, I would probably say on a yearly basis is definitely in that range. Is definitely in that range. Whether for precise, I'm not sure, but 4 or 5, 4 or 5, 6, 3, 4.
Let's legitimately say 10. Let's say 10.
I'm not thinking we're getting no 10 good movies, because before all this happened, man, I was like, I stayed in the movie theater. I mean, we'd go, 2-3 times a month.
So if that's true, then that completely supports Larry's argument, because if you ain't getting not enough good content, you'll sacrifice something new to pay, to get all those other services Larry just got finished making an argument for.
Yeah. So the thing with especially I think when it comes to price is definitely how they're going to do it. If it's going to be like the movie theaters, then they still have to determine how they're going to split and direct royalties to their rightful owners. If it's going to be specific companies, then you have to look at the possibility that it may end up being more than one app or more than one service, because Warner Brothers might have theirs, Universal may have theirs.
Yeah.
Disney got this. And so in that respect, I think it would definitely be a little bit cheaper, and definitely be a little bit cheaper. But I think if the movie theaters actually do it, then they have to look at royalty distribution and profit for themselves. So I think it would be hard. I think it would be hard to pull or push that agenda, at the $20-$25 range if you give it out, here and there. But I'm not, I'm not familiar with how they break all that stuff down and who gets what.
It's a 50-50 split for most of them. It's a 50-50 split for most of them. And so what happens is generally it's a 50-50 split, and the theaters generally don't make any money off that 50-50 split. They usually make their money off of concessions.
Right.
And so the thing is that when you go ahead and you do that same 50-50 split on a digital side like that, you end up where you don't have the concessions, but you also don't have any overhead, or you have minimal overhead, unlike you did before, where you have all these employees that you have for every theater. You have your actual releases, you have the projectors, you have all the other overhead that comes with owning and operating a theater. You don't have that. You have server costs. You have you have network people that maintain all that stuff, which, it's still, there's going to be some overhead, obviously, because you're running a business, but it's not going to be to the same extent as it is, like right now. I don't know how many AMC theaters, I don't know how many there are and how many employees they have, but let's just say they have 10,000 employees. Well, you could probably cut that down to maybe 1,000, and you're just going to end up spending less money. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. I think it could work. I don't think they can do it if they charge much. I think it's going to have to be around $25. Otherwise, people will just find their content elsewhere. It's like anything else. If you price yourself out of the market, people will still consume your content. They'll just do it by piracy. That's what people are doing now. That's what people do. That's what people doing now, skipping the movie theater. Because, like T-Stream said, let's just say you got a family of 3. The child get in for $8, but you and your spouse or whoever you take with you, y'all both paying like $11 a piece. So that's $30 in one movie. Right. And that is if your little badass child don't want no snacks. I done told y'all how I took my friend's kids to the movie theater and I gave them the credit card, and they come back and give me a receipt that said $89. I'm like, what in the world you buy? And then wouldn't even give me a Tic Tac out of the stuff they bought. Little fucker. But man, let's keep an eye on that. Go ahead, Larry. And there's other things that you could do. I think there's other things that you could do that may work out nicely with, to bring some stuff together. Like maybe AMC or whoever makes these deals can work out something with like DoorDash or whatever else they have, where people can get discounts on food, or maybe, if they're referring to people to order a pizza or something from whatever company, maybe the AMC gets a piece of that. Yeah. And so there's things like that. Maybe they can do something where they have add-ons where they say, okay, your friend or your mother or whoever else doesn't have the subscription, but you want to watch a movie with them. Well, maybe instead of, if you get 3 movies a week, maybe you can watch the same movie at the same time with them, and maybe it counts as 2 movies. And so you can share with them like that. So maybe there's something that can be done like that may help them, either bring people in, because, if you're doing this, let's say I want to watch a movie with T-Streams next week, and I'm saying, let's watch this new Halloween, and we watch it together. And he's like, yo, this service is kind of dope. I think I'm going to pay for it. Well, that's a new subscriber they have, and if not, they got rid of 2 of their movies, 2 of my movies a week. They got rid of it on one viewing. So, well, fellas, I'm going to move us beyond this because it's Marvel time. I've been waiting for this one. I've been waiting for this one. First of all, subscribe to the channel, download the podcast, check me out, check out Larry, like our videos, share them. It's Marvel time. So I'm just going to give y'all this to let you know what we about to talk about. Y'all will remember this.
Previously on X-Men.
we got a Marvel leak, fellas. We got a Marvel leak, and I can just tell you, I love her when she leaky. When she leak like that, it makes me smile. Let me let y'all know what's going on with the Marvel leak. So first of all, it was leaked that we're going to get a storyline dealing with the X-Men in Marvel Phase 5 that stars the Savage Lands. If you don't know about the Savage Lands, in the comic books, it was a place in Antarctica that had dinosaurs and all kinds of prehistoric stuff. One of the main people in the Savage Land with this thing y'all looking at right here, his name is Sauron, alter ego Dr. Carl Lygos. He had these humongous powers. He could hypnotize you, and if he touched you, he basically sucked your power, kind of the way that Rogue did. But he could not only suck the power from mutants, but he could suck them from human beings. And he also had this hypnotization power that he could do. And he went to school with Professor X. That's why his alter ego is Dr. Carl Lygos. Well, in this story, ladies and gentlemen, not only are we to see him as an adversary, but we're going to see this guy right here, Mr. Sinister. And the way they're going to try to weave in Mr. Sinister is kind of similar to what they did in the 90s comic books, where he was splicing people's DNA. And what they're going to do with him and Sauron, they're going to have Sauron go to the Savage Lands. Mr. Sinister is going to manipulate his mind somehow, try to splice up his DNA, and his first splicing is going to be Sauron. In the comic book, Sauron got his power by being bitten by a mutant. But they're saying that they're going to do the storyline where Mr. Sinister is going to be up to those no good tricks of splicing DNA, and his first person is going to be Sauron, and that's going to spur the X-Men getting sucked into the Savage Lands. And man, when I say that was a good story, it was a hellified story. Larry, I give this one to you. Are you excited to see Sinister and Sauron come to Phase 6 MCU?
Now, is this going to be the actual this is going to be the live action, or this is going to be the animated series?
Oh, no. This is going to be the MCU, Marvel live action.
All right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that sounds dope then.
Boy, when I got that leak, boy, I was wet. It looked like I had got out of a pool. I was wet. T-String.
I'll tell you what, they better really start producing all this stuff. They're going to be up at leaking up to Marvel's, MCU Phase 20 in a minute. Yeah. They better start putting out this stuff.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to see that. I think that would be a good fresh approach to the X-Men, as give them something really nice and challenging to work with, and and revitalize that storyline. Is the leak reliable?
It's someone who worked within the studios. Yeah. Now, mind you, I've been following these rumors and these leaks for years. And I would say from all the rumors and leaks that I hear, 75% of them tend to be true or have some truth in it. Mm. So now you're talking about two main adversaries of the X-Men. And when you start putting the clues together, Kevin Feige already said in his top 5 favorite animated shows ever, X-Men was one of them. The 90s X-Men was one of them.
Right. That was a good show.
It was a very good. That and Spider-Man from the 90s were two great shows.
Right.
And we know Kevin Feige, whenever he says he likes something, he draws inspiration from it. And people have been wanting to see Sinister. I can see Sinister in the MCU. And he's not like your cosmic level villain. So you're not going to need to go and get another team to help out the X-Men to defeat him. But he is Sinister. And Sauron and his powers are pretty deadly too. Because if he touches you, he absorbs your energy. And then he can hypnotize you. One of his other powers was he can get in your face, hypnotize you, get your energy, and have you do his bidding. Bruh, I'm there.
Yeah,
I'm there.
So what's Phase 6? 2027?
Shit, man. Something like that. It's probably like Phase 2025.
I hear about this stuff. I hear about this stuff, and it's cool to see, and it's sort of exciting to hear about, but then it's so far off. You're just like,
that's good because we'll beat them for got it, and then they'll drop it again, and then we'll be able to get really excited about seeing it again.
So they talking about Phase 5 movies. Phase 5 movies are starting in 2023. Yeah. So 2024 is when you see Phase 6. So, I find these Marvel stories every day, and I'll keep bringing them to you guys every single day. These live streams. So now, last but definitely not least, the finances. And I'm going to do this one where I review tips I gave you guys from the previous week and this week and kind of show you what has happened in terms of the money they've made. So first and foremost, I gave you guys a tip last week to go and get yourself, let me see here. I talked about this last week, but I remember telling you guys to get it on Wednesday. And in just a week, it's returned 44% on the money if you bought it last week at this time. Y'all better stick with a brother, because I don't be doing all this homework for nothing. And then you check this one out. I told y'all to go get this last Wednesday with Larry for people that want to do cannabis. And in a week, it's returned 16% on your money, gaining you a whole whopping $2. Hold on to it. And the tip of the day, and that's all I got to say. Me and Larry just talked about Joe Rogan signing that humongous deal with Spotify. If you got enough money, go click in there, get you some Spotify. In 1 week, Spotify gained 18%, which was $30.17 upon the news that they might be doing something with a big celebrity. They never said who the celebrity was last week. This news dropped 2 days ago. And when they dropped the news, Spotify shot up another $3 just on the news. And the way Spotify is making these money plays and being an alternative almost to YouTube, if you can afford to buy some of that technology stock, get you a couple and just sit on it.
Yeah.
Because Spotify is going up. Joe Rogan is in the top 3 most popular podcasts in the world, not just in the USA, in the world. And that stock is going to do nothing but go higher. I see that stock maybe in 3 years from now being probably $300. So if you can afford to get some, that's my stock tip for you guys for today. Get you some Spotify. Go get that Aurora cannabis if you didn't get any, and get some pen gaming, because I heard them airheads is out there gambling that money with a mask on. Ain't nothing going to stop a gambler from gambling. And they in there eating crab legs, pulling the mask up. These people want to get in that casino. Go get you some of those stocks, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just keeping that thing real. I mean, getting butter all on your mask and shit, dipping your crabs in the butter. Then you're trying to eat, bruh. Get you some of that stuff. If you're gonna make money off people being foolish, get that pen gaming.
Yeah.
People are just it's a shame, but it is what it is. People are gonna, I've been getting really upset about all this stuff. My wife keeps telling me you just have to stop getting upset about it. People are gonna do stupid stuff. You just have to let them be stupid, and
let the consequences kick them in the ass. It's
frustrating because when people are stupid on their own, it's one thing,
right?
Mm-hmm. But when their stupidity can hurt other people, then it bothers me. So
it's next level, man. It's next level when they do that. T-Streams, any of them stocks look good to you?
Yes, especially that I'm considering maybe that Spotify, man. I didn't know that. Yeah. I didn't know that. And it's that's while 190, sorry about that, I hit my laptop. While 190 is a lot, it seems like a lot. You saw that $30 return in 1 week, okay?
Right.
You look at it, I look at it like this. And at some point, Google was $190 a stock, a share. And so Amazon at one point was $190 a share. And look at these places now. And
so Facebook started out 35, and now look at Facebook.
Yeah. And when you those are things. So now what I think we may even see, because Joe Rogan is going to, he has a nice little following, and so I know you can probably check him out on iTunes. Of course, you can check him out on dang on YouTube, because that's where I watch him. And now he's coming to Spotify. Now he's coming to Spotify, and I wouldn't be surprised if they took the success that he has and grabbed some other podcast guys and slid them over that way. And so that's one of the ones that you say, okay, I got this I can spare, so I'm gonna go ahead and grab these, and we just gonna set this in the cup and just let it ride the wave, because it's obviously onto something. And once that wind get behind that fire, you want to be in the midst of that, and you want your name to be on some of that stuff. And those are the things that could those are one of them things that could actually make a really big difference in your portfolio, especially if you can get if you can afford a couple of them. That $1,200 will get you a couple of them.
Couple of them. That's right. Instead of buying all them damn crab legs and shrimp, I'd be reading y'all out here buying. Hell, take half of that, get some crab legs and shrimp, and take half and invest in your future. Larry, it's on you.
Yeah, I think T Streams is right. I think that I think Spotify is probably gonna end up picking up some other talent as a consequence of this. I wouldn't be surprised to see some other big names go over there, that people like maybe Chelsea Handler or Whitney Cummings, or somebody that people that they're already in that space. I can see them saying, hey, wait a minute, I want some of that big money. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them head over to a place like that. I'll be honest with you, when I see something like this happen and really start to see their stock prices jump like that, and see if it really causes a lot of popularity, where all of a sudden Spotify can now say we're growing by these numbers. And if they start to grow by big numbers, if all of a sudden now they say, well, you know what, our premium service used to be $10, we're going to lower it to $5 a month and allow everyone to listen to they get the podcast stuff for free, but also get the other music stuff. If they start doing stuff like that, I can see where other companies start to say, wait a minute, we need to get in on this. And now all of a sudden you might start having Apple say, we're going to start doing this. We're going to combine our Apple podcast with Apple Music. And you could have the same thing happen with Google and Google Music. And not to say that Spotify isn't big, but Spotify is not anything compared to Apple and Google when it comes to money. And on top of that, Apple produces its own devices, and every single Apple device comes pre-installed with Apple, with Apple Music and with the podcast service. So
and now Apple Pay, and now Apple's producing their own content.
So I mean, if Apple decides they want to get in on this game and they want to go after some of the big content producers, some of the big podcast producers, and they want to say, okay, we're going to start giving content, video content producers a place to put their stuff besides YouTube or wherever. I mean, we could end up in a little bit of a there could be a little bit of a content war going on. It would be good for the consumer, I think. It probably would even be good for the content creators, but I'm curious to see where this is all going to pan out. I think Spotify started something here, and I'm curious to see where it's going to go. So,
well, I hope they did as another platform where people can make content and not have to be vanilla. I hope it works out for them.
Well, I don't think that's going to happen on Apple.
Of course not. but my fear with this is, at what point in time will Spotify be too big that they'll start doing what YouTube did and getting rid of the wild, wild west of people doing content? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. No, I think you're right. I think if they get so big that they're just like, look, if advertisers are coming to them and saying, hey, we want to put our ads on such and such, but we can't put our ads on somebody that's talking about porn, or somebody that's talking about guns, or somebody that's talking about, whatever, then that's going to be a problem. But if you have the market sort of split up, if Apple or Google or whoever else gets into the game and Spotify becomes that place, that alternative sort of becomes and remains that alternative place, then the advertisers might be like, okay, this is cool. We can still drop our money over here because this is where people know to go if they want that alternative stuff. And so they're, the only problem is if you end up with some activist group that's saying, well, we need to boycott so-and-so because they're putting money over here on someone that's talking about porn, and porn is anti-woman or whatever else. And then all of a sudden it becomes a concern for the advertisers. If you end up with stuff like that, then, who knows what could happen, but we'll see. I think Spotify would be good if they kept their stuff edgy and hopefully Apple or Google or somebody else gets into the game and they can go for the more broad, family-friendly market.
Yeah, Spotify, they already have a nice they have a nice selection of podcasts that you can already check out on there. Yeah.
Right.
Well, no, I think someone's just saying Mike Tyson need to have one. He actually has one. His is pretty popular too. It's called Hot Boxing with Mike Tyson. All they do is really just they smoke weed, and he have A-listers on there. Even had Joe on there a couple weeks ago. I check his out because Mike Tyson is really like a comedian in disguise.
Yeah,
I mean, man. In all honesty, anyone who is a pseudo celebrity nowadays has something like that YouTube podcast or something. I mean, they're monetizing this stuff to the hilt. And I mean, I support them, man. If people are going to follow you and listen to you, get that bread as best you can. Hell, I know we over here trying hard as hell.
Yeah.
Keep super chatting, keep supporting, keep promoting us. Cause we trying to blow up too. We trying to blow up, like Martin Lawrence said. Blow up.
And this goes back to what T Strains was talking about earlier about there may not be enough good content in the theaters to pay $50 a month or something like that. But I think part of the problem is that I'm not sure the content in theaters has gotten better or worse, or there's more worse, better content in there. I think what it is that there's so much more content elsewhere that is good. Like if you look at the TV shows that are out today, they're so much better than they used to be, and there's so much more of it that when you go to the theaters, you're like, this is okay. I could have watched something better at home on Netflix or on Hulu or whatever else. I think there's just so much more content and so much more that's good that you really have to come up with something special, and the same thing with podcasts. There's so much more entertaining content out there that you can get, that you really have to come up with something special to make people leave their house to go get it.
Well, you know what? If they really need special, we sitting right here, damn it. Like I said, $1 million. We're special as fuck. $1 million. We are super special. T-Stream, last word is on you, and we getting up out of here.
You know what? It is Friday. So, you guys, everybody have a nice weekend. We got a holiday coming up. Enjoy your holiday. Stay safe. Use common sense. Guys, our block is on fire right now. They got, look like they're having a full-fledged block party out, up the street, man. It's all the way at the other end of the corner. Cars all the way down towards my house. I'm talking about they out there gigging. So my thing is it's warming up. You guys use common sense, stay safe. As enticing and desirable it would be to just want to get out, hang, blaze the grill, and have the whole family come over. We gotta take that bullet right now. It's nothing we can really do. We either take the bullet or risk and gamble. And if we risk and gamble, then we have to be able to man up and take the consequence. So it's better to be on the safe side, because it's crazy. It is crazy. And I'm talking like right outside my door. So for you guys, last word, enjoy, have a great weekend, have a great holiday, stay safe, always.
So on you, Larry.
So this earlier this week, the CDC came out and they said they were releasing new sort of standards or whatever, or guidances about the coronavirus. And one of the things they were saying is that that you don't have to be as worried as much about touching things, that the transmission of the coronavirus isn't as likely from touching different things with your hands. It's more of a you have to worry about it from aerosolized things, from people coughing, breathing on you, whatever. And I just would like to say, please, please do not stop doing what you had already been doing as far as washing your hands, using the hand sanitizers, being careful about what you touch, because I would like to remind everyone that we have gone through time after time after time of the CDC coming out with new guidances, revising those, saying, oops, sorry, you should be wearing a mask, even after they told us we shouldn't have been wearing a mask, and they're saying that we should. And there's been all kinds of changes, because the reality of it is we just simply do not know enough about this virus yet. So please take precautions. Don't go up there and say, oh, the CDC says it's okay to touch stuff again. So you go and you start touching doorknobs and handles on, the railings and stuff. And then the next thing you know, you get a bug in your eye, and you start fiddling with your eye, and now all of a sudden you have something in your body. Just please continue to take the precautions. I mean, I hate to say that the CDC has been politicized, but I mean, when we look at our current administration, it doesn't look good right now for them. It looks like they're kowtowing to the Trump administration. Just please, please, please continue with your precautions so that you don't get sick, you don't get your family sick, and you don't get anybody else sick as well.
Good. Well said. Ladies and gentlemen, sometimes we get so caught up in striving for the next thing, we don't really sit and recognize what we have achieved or what we currently have to be thankful for. As Larry and T-Streams both mentioned, you want to go out, it's starting to feel better, you're getting cabin fever, it's a holiday weekend. If you're in good health, be thankful for it. You show that you're thankful for it by heeding these precautions. If your family is good financially, be thankful for it. You've done everything you can to provide and make that situation the way it is. If you have a good friend circle like I've got with these fellas, be thankful for it. We're all safe and healthy, and we've got you guys that come watch us that we feel like are safe and healthy too, and we want to keep you that way. Your life game for this week, be thankful for the things that you've forgotten to be thankful about. And that's going to do it for this video. Don't forget to like the video, comment, subscribe, get yourself that life game, follow T-Streams on Facebook, and follow Larry on his YouTube. He's going to go live tomorrow at 9 p.m. with his other movie critic. So check him out. And until that next Sex is Hell video, we'll see you.
Peace.